Good evening. Today is June 17th, 2026, and we are here for the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Can I ask for a motion to open the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The Hendrick Hudson School District Board of Education will convene for the purpose of collective negotiations under the Taylor Law, medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment or employment or promotion or demotion or discipline or suspension or removal of a particular person or corporation, an exempt subject involving a confidential student matter regarding a particular student. May I ask for a motion to move to executive session?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The board will reconvene at approximately 7:30 p.m. Good evening and welcome back to the Hendrick Hudson Board of Education meeting. Today is June 17th, 2026. May we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so that moves us on to our agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to move?
Motion to move consent agenda number 8 to after number 5, the recognition.
To approve it first?
Give me a second.
We can approve the agenda.
No, we're making amendments to it.
Oh.
So we got a second.
I don't know. Second.
All in favor?
What did we do?
We just moved 8, the consent agenda, to after 5, the recognition.
So we have a number of wonderful events going on tonight, and we want to make sure that if there are people who do need to get home to study or to get some extra sleep, we want to make sure that we can recognize them but still get them out at a reasonable time.
And then I'd like to make another motion to move 10 audience comments on the agenda items to after 6 on the audience comments non-agenda items.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda with those 2 amendments, moving 8 consent agenda to after 5 recognition, and moving 10 audience comments on agenda items to after 6 audience comments on non-agenda items.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, moving on, we are now moving to our public hearing on the Code of Conduct and District-Wide Safety Plan. Yes, please.
So as we are pulling up our documents, this hearing is held in accordance with New York State educational law. On both of these documents, the Code of Conduct is an agreement between the community, the school, and our students on our expectations of behavior. And we always know that when students have clear expectations, we know that they are better postured to be able to meet those expectations. So the Code of Conduct is reviewed annually as a board policy. The review process for this year started back in January, where we asked our administrators to review it, weigh in on their thoughts on any changes that might need to be proposed. They were asked to bring that back to their site-based teams for collaborative input. We also reviewed it with the District Shared Decision-Making Committee, and then the Board Policy Committee did also do a final review. So we are pleased to present this year's Code of Conduct for consideration, and this public hearing allows the public to weigh in on that if they do have any comments that they wish the board to hear. In a similar manner, our district-wide and building safety plans are developed in accordance with New York State education law and also New York State law. And this hearing allows anybody who wishes to have comments on those plans, which have been posted and will be posted until the next meeting, where the board will be asked to adopt those plans on July 1st. This hearing allows an additional opportunity for public comment. But here at Hendrick Hudson, if you do have any comments on these policies, as with others, please feel free to reach out to me via email or phone, and I'd be happy to discuss that with you and share that feedback with the board. So we have to achieve appropriate wait time.
Thank you. And now comes the best part of the evening, our recognition.
Yes, we took a break from student recognition because we had a bunch of events occur that related to our staff that need to be celebrated, our tenure recognition, our retirement recognition, and we reserved this time at the beginning of all of our board meetings to remind us why we're here, celebrate our colleagues, and also, whenever possible, celebrate our wonderful students. So in getting back on track with recognizing our students, I'd like to call our Executive Director for Technology and Innovation, Ms. Benita Joy, to the abridged podium to introduce our staff and students who are being recognized for some outstanding work. So, Ms. Joy.
Thank you. So this is such an honor and privilege for me to celebrate two of our Furnace Woods second graders, Danielle Kleinkind and also Emmett Thomas Adelstein, who were recognized as winners in the SkillStruck Future Ready Challenge, a national innovation competition that encourages students to develop creativity, problem solving, and coding skills. This accomplishment is especially meaningful as it comes from the leadership of our first-year STEAM teacher, Alexa Malabé. Danielle and Emma are joined here today with their family. Alexa will talk about some of the fun things they got to do because of the award. Last week I got a chance to drop in when they were actually speaking directly to both of them. Danielle and Emmett was talking to the SkillStruck CEO, Parker Gentry, about their code and changes they would like to see in their platform. They were not holding back when they were sharing those suggestions. One of the things that stood out to me when Emmett spoke was about what he loves about the platform is that you get to use your imagination and there are no rules and you can do the best you can. That's what you said. And also Danielle said, it's fun and it helps me process things, and that coding allows her to express her creativity while connecting to her interest, which is nature. And I'd like to invite their teacher, Alexa Malabé, to speak a little bit more about their journey and recognize them with some awards.
Thank you. As Benita said, this year SkillStruck hosted their Future Ready Challenge. After combing through the most groundbreaking student submissions, they selected national innovation winners for grades K through 5 and 6 through 12. It is with great joy that I can say that our two of our very own sailors won that competition, and in winning that competition earned some really cool prizes, including a pizza party for the entirety of 2nd grade. And they were able to, like Benita said, meet with the SkillStruck CEO. It was honestly one of the most rewarding experiences as a teacher to see them be able to speak with the person who actually created the platform, for them to share their creativity and their individuality, but also I received correspondence from SkillStruck. They're actually going to be applying the suggestions that Emmett and Danielle had given them in their platform because they were so incredible. So definitely should be proud of that. I always give my students time to play around with new concepts or code blocks independently after we code a project as a class, usually using my cat's crazy antics as a way to inspire them. But it was during these opportunities that Danielle and Emmett just soared. I was awestruck with their innovation and creativity. Danielle's use of the send message and on-message event blocks was so unique and meticulous. She'd individually code every log in that cabin in order for it to work the way that it did. She has inspired so many of my other students to start thinking about using blocks in a different way, and she's also very proud of making some more new cabins out of different materials that are on SkillStruck, and we're fingers crossed that we get those roofs soon added to the platform as well. Emmett's use of multiple scenes and the way he carefully used individual message blocks for his countdown and his storytelling transformed his project into a mini movie for us to enjoy. He has even advanced to experimenting with pseudocode and customization on Blocks Pro Playground. So they both have done so much. Emmett and Danielle, words cannot describe how incredibly proud I am of you both. I know your families, your teachers, and our Henhood community are so proud of you as well. Continue to nurture your interests and what makes you unique. Never question what you are capable of, because you have inspired and shown me that with imagination, not even space is out of reach. So thank you guys. I do have some stuff for them. So, and now I would like to award you guys your True Skills Shuffle trophies and certificates. So, and here you go, sweetheart. Congratulations, guys.
So that's not everything. We would now have you come up to meet with our Board of Ed President, Miss Amelia Silverman, and we'll have pictures with you and your teacher, with Miss Joy, with Miss Silverman. If they want me to, I'll join in, but you guys are the stars of the picture, so we're going to have you come up, and Miss Silverman is going to present some certificates from the Board of Education for you.
And we're going to take a picture.
Yes, of course. You guys should be so proud of yourselves.
We're gonna get the whole board in as well. Wait, we're gonna have the whole board come in. Come on, ladies. Oh, Benita.
So exciting, guys.
Benita. Come on, guys.
Okay, Anna and Danielle, you guys can stand in front of me if you want, if we need space.
Oh, less long. Where are we looking?
I keep changing where I'm looking.
We look everywhere.
Just look in front.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
That was true.
Good job, you guys.
Good job, you guys. Congratulations. I'm so proud of yourself so far. So proud.
So first, Miss Joy and Alexa, thank you so much for supporting our students in their endeavors and their passions. And to our students, thank you so much for representing what is truly best about you and your peers, your creativity, your innovation, and your willingness to provide feedback. We thank you so much for being here this evening. And parents, we'll take a short 2-minute break to allow you, if you want to stick around, you're more than welcome to. But you are welcome to go leave and study, or go build a log cabin if you'd like to.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll give you another round of applause.
Okay, so after moving some items on the agenda, we are now going to.
I'd like a point of privilege, please.
Sure.
While we are still on our recognition agenda item, I do want to take a moment to recognize Ms. Tamika Dietrich as she concludes her 3-year term as a Board of Education trustee. So first of all, a round of applause for Ms. Dietrich. Over the past 3 years, Tamika has demonstrated profound thoughtfulness in every decision she has made during her tenure. She consistently sought to deeply understand the outcomes of board actions and the lasting impacts those choices would have on those who populate the Hendrick Hudson School community, but most importantly, the students. I want to personally share my sincere appreciation for her invaluable insights and her steadfast service to the board and the children we serve. Her collaborative professional spirit and clear focus on student success have been true assets to our governance team. While her term as a trustee is coming to a close, I know without a doubt that her dedicated service on behalf of the students of our community will continue in new and meaningful ways across our community. And Tamika, on behalf of the entire school district, we thank you, and we have small tokens of appreciation to present you this evening to honor your commitment and time.
Show it. It's okay. It's perfect. I appreciate it. You have to show everybody, he said.
Oh, okay. Told him to keep it short and very sweet, but he still.
Well, in the honor of keeping it sweet, we gave her a wooden base.
Oh, okay.
There's something else.
I don't think so.
In keeping the time-honored tradition of those who influence students, we wanted to present you with a golden, or, I'm sorry, not a golden apple, a clear apple, and a plaque to memorize your, a glass apple, I'm sorry,
Glass.
to commemorate your service to the board and the children we serve.
Thank you so much, Mike.
See, the apple is short and sweet.
Thank you.
And we do have an obligatory picture at the end of the board meeting for the board members. It's the annual picture.
Thank you. Can't wait for the picture. We are moving on to the items that we moved up, which would be 8.04 fiscal and 8.05 professional personnel. No. I'm sorry. We are moving on to the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to pull from the consent agenda?
Motion to pull items 8.04 fiscal and 8.05 professional personnel.
Second.
All in favor? Can I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus, we're not approving it yet. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus items 8.04 fiscal and 8.05 professional personnel.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so now we will look at 8.04 fiscal.
I'd like to make a motion for a roll call vote for fiscal 8.04.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, so 8.04 fiscal. Yes.
So the board just took action on our fiscal agenda, which included a new agreement with the District Administrators Association. It's a 3-year term of agreement that continues to honor and reflect the collaborative spirit that we have with our District Administrators Union. It's been a very thoughtful process on what's best for kids. I appreciated the insights, the continued discussion on always keeping our children at the forefront of those decisions, and very pleased that the board is considering adopting the new contract with our district administrators who put countless hours and days and minutes and seconds, because sometimes that's what it comes down to with our kiddos, to support them. And we look forward to this new contract terms and the continued success of our students. So thank you for your process. And we'll do comments in a little bit.
So we need to do a roll call vote on 8.04 fiscal. We'll start.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so 8.04 fiscal is approved.
I'd like to make a motion to walk on and advise professional personnel, 8.05.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Point of privilege. Thank you. So the Board of Education just took action on our personnel agenda. One of the items on that personnel agenda is welcoming to our district a new team member, Miss Ashley Martinez, as an assistant principal in the Hendrick Hudson High School. Ashley went through a very lengthy search process, and we are pleased to welcome her to our team. And she is here this evening. And if you'd like to come up and say a few words, we'd like to give that opportunity at the time. Right to our wonderful podium.
Good evening, everyone.
everyone. I'll keep it brief, but I just want to say what a pleasure and a privilege it will be to serve as an assistant principal at Hendrick Hudson High School next year. I very much look forward to working with everyone in this district and at the school. Go Sailors!
So Ashley has already figured out the way to end any short and sweet speech. We welcome her to our team, and Ashley's candidacy, from my perspective, stood out for always placing students at the heart of the decision, looking to help students view every opportunity as a learning opportunity, and she brings with her a wealth of experience, and we're very pleased to have you on our team.
Motion for a roll call vote to approve professional personnel 8.05.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we'll start on the left side this time. Erica?
Yes.
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 Okay, 8.05, professional personnel has been approved. Okay, we did have two other items that were removed from the consent agenda, which are donations. The first one is to approve a donation totaling $150 for the Barbara Katzen Science Scholarship Fund. The Office of Special Education has received a donation in the amount of $150 to be utilized to pay for partial summer camp funding for students with significant handicapping conditions. I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the donation of $150.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The Board of Education has approved the donation of $150 for the Barbara Katzen Science Scholarship Fund.
Thank you to our donor.
Thank you. The second one we have is to approve a donation totaling $448.50 for books for the 2026-2027 kindergarten orientation. The Hendrick Hudson Community Education Foundation, Incorporated, has made a donation of $448.50 to fund the purchase of books for the 2026-2027 kindergarten orientation. Can I ask for a motion to approve this donation?
Motion to approve the donation.
Second.
All in favor? The Board of Education has just approved a donation for $448.50 for books for the kindergarten orientation. Thank you so much to the Hendrick Hudson Community Education Foundation. Okay, and then that moves us on to our, I think I'm out of order. Oh no, audience comments on, I did go out of order, I just did that. Our audience comments on non-agenda items and agenda items. Carmen, do we have anyone to speak?
We do not.
At this time?
Point of privilege?
Yes.
I believe we do have a walk-on comment. So.
Here comes trouble.
Uh-oh, principals.
I didn't do it.
Good evening, everyone. We just wanted to share briefly what a pleasure it was to work on our new bargaining agreement. As president of our unit, we all feel very keenly our responsibility to all of the students and households in the district. We keep them at the center of all of our decisions, and we balance the need of all students within our schools. And it was wonderful to be part of a process that really respected us as professionals and really laid the groundwork for making this a place that really will be attractive to future applicants as some of us retire or transition to other positions. And we really appreciate all of the support as we build a really cohesive team of administrators in the district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just want to thank, again, the DAA negotiating team and our cabinet negotiating team for having those thoughtful conversations. And again, to the board, this is an example, another example, as we mentioned with the teachers, when we do have these types of discussions with our valued employees, when we put students first, good things happen, and we're always willing to work with groups and individuals who want to put students first at the heart of the decision. So thank you again. And while I have the point of privilege, I would say that if anybody is here who has just been recognized, that they're more than welcome to stay for the meeting. It's very exciting. Or they can also choose this time. I know that many of our administrators have stayed here, and it's teacher tired and administrator tired at this time of June. So if you need to go home and get some rest, we certainly understand that. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
And while we're transitioning, I do just want to thank the board for Robert's Rules of Orders provides very prescriptive ways that we run meetings to try to be efficient. But again, we talked about always putting the students at the center of our decisions. This is just a small example of a simple thing is arranging an agenda to allow some of the students we asked to stay out late to be able to get home. So I know it takes a lot of precise processes to follow the rules of orders, but thank you for again putting students first and making sure our staff who support students can get home safe and get some rest.
Okay, so that brings us to our presentations, and the first one is an update on EV buses and infrastructure from Polera Energy.
So I would like to call to the podium our partners from Polera, who are going to give an update on the district's transition to electric vehicles. This has been something that the board has been monitoring for a number of years. We've asked the community to fund a transition to that mandate by the state. Polera has been a partner in helping us assess not only our ability to purchase those buses, but our infrastructure and considerations we need to plan for. So we're very pleased to have them present. I want to thank Mr. Merlini and Ms. Figueroa for working with Polera on this presentation, and our colleagues from Polera being here tonight to help the board understand what work has been done and then what the board can look to towards the future. We do know that we have had an update from the state legislator in the recent budget that the transition to electric vehicles has been delayed, and we'll also be able to speak to that as well. So I'd like to call to the podium our colleagues from Polera.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can also adjust the microphone.
Thanks.
Don't have you bending over the whole time.
Okay.
Just in case you can't read that far.
My arms aren't as long as they used to be. Hey, I'm Lonnie Russell. I'm a business development manager at Polera, and I'm going to spend a few minutes just introducing you to who Polera is, and then Gabriel will go over the fleet electrification plan with you. Next slide, please. So I call this the comfort slide. This is to help make you feel comfortable with us. So if you look on the right of this slide, that's all the metrics that we've accomplished doing fleet electrification projects. We're up around 2,000 vehicles that we've connected so far, 40 megawatts of power. We've done quite a bit of work. We are actually privately owned by the Reserve Holdings, and they've been in the school bus industry for 60 years, from manufacturing school buses to actually managing dealerships, you name it, they're a part of it. So it's pretty much in our DNA to do school buses. A lot of electrification occurred in Quebec, and this is where it started. We're considered by NYSERDA to be in the top 5 so far as fleet electrification plans. We're up around 30 right now for the state, in the middle of or completed. Next slide, please. So this is what we do. Basically, we're an engineering company, as you can see on that's the fleet electrification plan, that's part of that. We also do some infrastructure solutions. We have our own service department, that's boots on the ground, it's not just a dispatch. We have our own software, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, and we have our own financing arm to help make things happen. Next slide, please. Basically, we do all types of fleets, from white fleet, school buses, last mile, we're pretty much handle all of it. But that is our specialty, is the fleet side of things. Next slide. And this is just some pictures of some of the projects that we've done. You can see some of the school bus projects, IKEA, we've done quite a bit. That's our little infrastructure solution there on the bottom right. Next slide, please. And that's our infrastructure solution. It's called a charge pack. Basically what it does is takes the transformer, the load center, the breakers, the meter box, all that, throws it together on a skid so it shows up on a truck, drop it on the ground. It saves 60% footprint, and it's a much quicker install. We can actually get this thing done usually within 6 months, which is pretty good right now considering how long it takes to get transformers. Next slide. All right. Go ahead. Next slide. We have our own software solution. We purchased Clio from Hydro-Quebec in 2024, meaning it was designed by a utility, which makes it really robust at saving money on rates. So we can charge the bus when it's cheapest. We can do a duty cycle analysis on the bus, just fancy words for pretty much this system. It's a plug-and-play system that will actually run the bus. It will learn how the bus operates. It will fine tune how to charge the bus by itself. It will charge no more than what's needed, so the batteries don't wear out, and it actually makes for a much higher efficiency. Next slide. Just a little bit more about Clio. It's obviously going to have a mobile setup as well. So this is really important. So it will fire off alerts. Let's say that you wanted 100% of your buses charged by 5 a.m. in the morning. You can actually set the system up to do that, and it'll fire off an alert if that doesn't happen. Now that could be a problem with hardware or software, or it could be somebody forgot to plug the bus in. But this actually allows the the manager to know what's going on before he gets to work. And this just shows how the AI brain of this can actually reduce demand cost. And demand is the spike, the actual peak usage. A lot of schools have to pay for that. And in energy lingo, we call that the gift that keeps giving, because you hit that demand once and sometimes you'll pay for it for the next year. So it's very important that you try to mitigate that. So the software will look at, instead of every bus charging at 100% at the same time, it'll modulate that and lower it down. Now, what this slide shows is that AI can actually reduce it down to 70% of what it would have been. Next slide. So basically, this is just a summary slide. We're pretty much soup to nuts. We can do turnkey projects from the engineering, the software, everything, and everything in between. So you're up, Mr. Gabe. Any questions for me before I move on?
Thank you. Thank you, Lonnie. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gabriel Glantz. I'm project manager with Polara. Been working with the district to work on the NYSERDA fleet electrification plan and to satisfy the state mandate. I'll be covering what the FEP is, or the fleet electrification plan, how we analyze the needs of the district, where we are in the process, and then a few notes on some high-level estimates and incentives. The fleet electrification plan is a NYSERDA-funded roadmap. It is first and foremost a report. It is in no way a commitment or construction-ready documents to complete electrification. Our objective and the scope of the project when we joined was to meet the state mandate of electrification by 2035 and set that plan out for the school district. The report itself is more of a problem identifying document than it is really a problem solving document. So it serves as a useful guide tool for the district in deciding how to approach the electrification process. It includes a comprehensive review of the fleet operations as well as the current electrical capacity. From there, we set out an action plan that prioritizes recommendations for the buses as well as the infrastructure. How we do this is by evaluating the routes and operational needs, establishing minimum requirements for feasibility today versus feasibility with future technology. It includes an engineering study where we work with the district as well as the utility company to build conceptual layouts, electrical diagrams, and load assessments. And finally, we build out a phasing strategy that would propose potential for transition over the course of the mandated transition period, including timing, budgeting, and available incentives. So in completing the FEP not only guides the district, but also does unlock additional funding through NYSERDA and future grant opportunities. So at a glance, we take a look at some of the data points that we have collected with the district. The fleet of approximately 64 buses with 44 active routes. Looking at each route data for every bus, mileage, trips, layover, bell times, accounting for distance, speed, stops, averages, average winter temperatures, and heating needs. Special considerations such as overnight charging for the active routes. We put this all into our energy model using real-world electric bus performance data from the manufacturers. Exceptionally, as a part of the FEP, we also consider prospective technologies that have yet to be adopted, mandated by NYSERDA, the anticipation of larger battery sizes and greater ranges to be available is factored into the report so that what is expected by 2035 will be integrated. What we concluded is that with current technologies, 53 of the 64 vehicles can be achieved with EV, and that it's anticipated that all 64 can be achievable by the year 2035. Considering the electrical capacity at the site, we determined that it was only really enough for a very small pilot, not for full-scale electrification, which means that looking at the bus parking, the drive aisles, the property boundary, any charging layout must safely fit within the yard, and the demand of the entire fleet far exceeds what is currently available. So what we've concluded is that a new dedicated electrical service and transformer would be required, with our recommendation being to oversize the minimum threshold to satisfy future potential, add flexibility in charging and overall robustness to the system. What we're showing here is a draft set of plans that we're working through with the district, proposing three phases to the charging transition. We've made paid special attention and very strategically propose small incremental changes to allow for the installation of the chargers to be spread out over the conversion period, starting with upgrade to the facility in and of itself so it can support all the vehicles that are stored indoors, and then growing and upgrading the site's available power so that it can feed the necessary routes which are more demanding further down the line. Based on the proposed plans at this time, the scope of the installation, including the infrastructure installation, the chargers themselves, we anticipate that it could cost approximately $3 million to make this transition on the site. It would include a combination of level 2 AC chargers as well as high-powered DC chargers as well. This split across the 3 phases for a transition to be phased over the next almost 10 years. There are various incentives available to support EV transitioning, such as those provided by NYSERDA, which I had mentioned earlier, vouchers for both purchasing the vehicles themselves as well as for the infrastructure and the chargers required to supply power to them. Slight little note on the table there, I believe there's priority district bonus amount written twice. The second one is actually should read scrappage bonus amount. Apologies. There are as well incentives available by the utility to cover both utility side upgrades as well as the client side charging infrastructure costs. There are also incentives in the form of preferred rates for energy, being a much larger client, and also cost incentives to perform load management. So charging the vehicles off peak is often incentivized within a monetary vouchers or rebates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before I open it up to board questions, just a reminder to the board, when we reached out to Pollara to have an update on how we are transitioning to electronic vehicles, this was scheduled before the Assembly and Legislature action on a pause or a delay in the mandate. So we did want to provide where we stand right now to provide that update. And it's important, particularly when Pollara discussed the incentive vouchers and rate programs, because without the background work that Pollara has done, the survey, we would not be eligible for any of those incentives when they are available. So that is a key component of making sure that we maximize any incentive programs or aid that would be available. So does the board have any questions for our partners at Polara?
I have a question. Is that okay? This is just a general question about electric buses. If there's like ever a major power outage or anything like that where like certain parts of our town lose power sometimes and others don't, and is there any type of backup plan for the buses, like if they can't charge or?
I'd say that that's really concerned on a case-by-case basis. Typical power outages don't last significant amount of time. That would be preventing the buses to be charging overnight. So in that 8 to 12 hour period, if there's a drop of 1 hour, it's one thing. If it's 3 days without power, it could be a complete other issue. And I think the school also probably has considerations for that for just operations.
Yeah.
Quick question. The $3 million that's here, does that take into account all of the rebates and all that stuff? It does not.
No, that is just total cost of construction.
Okay. And is there a timeline that you had associated with each of these phases or no?
For each phase, they have not yet been identified for when to execute each, but obviously the 3 to be executed across the next 9 years.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions? Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thank you to our presenters. I know it's difficult to change gears and shift, no pun intended with transportation, on the purpose of the presentation, but we appreciate your flexibility. And I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure for many board members, this is a good starting point to continue some detailed conversations about our next steps in the planning. So we appreciate you taking the time to generate the report and provide it. So thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 more presentations, and the next one is our update on the district goals.
Looks like it's over to me again. So I'll give Greg a moment to pull it up. So this is one of our final board meetings of the academic year, and we wanted to take a moment to update the board on the district's progress towards the district goals, which are aligned to our current strategic plan. So as Greg pulls that up. And of course, we always ground particularly our goals because they do require time, energy, and resources to address. We want to make sure that everything that we spend our time doing does draw back to our mission and also our administrative theme for the year, making sure that we align our actions and the way we approach our actions around a cohesive message. Next slide. So the objectives of this presentation are to, of course, provide an update on our progress towards the goals that we have shared with the Board of Education. We also wanted to discuss the goal setting process for 26 and 27. And also because we are coming to the end of the 26-27 school year of our strategic plan, we want to provide thoughts on where we go in terms of that direction and that initiative, because we need to start planning for that immediately, and we are doing that currently, so we want to make sure that we provide an update on that. So Greg, next slide, please. So I did ask the board to do some homework, and I know this time of the year, homework is very difficult. So I did ask the board to do some homework. If we did not have an opportunity to do that, just please let me know.
What? You said we were going to do it here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
good. Now that we're all paying attention. In classwork, I should say. In classwork. So I did prep the board that we asked them to, what's that?
I'm not really totally working.
So what I'll do is I'll share the form with Greg, and if Greg can pull it up, that way we have a large screen view of it.
I have to do it here.
You can be flexible. So if you are able to pull up on your iPad, Greg, I'm sharing a file with you called Reflection on 25-26 Goals. Just sent it to you. And so the purpose of this activity is to give the board some time to connect and reflect upon the district goals, what we would ask you to do is to think about and recall our district strategic plan and the shared goals that are in that wonderful to read document, and we'll talk about that in a second, or any goal that you were keeping an eye on. And I'd like you to just turn to the person next to you, and from what you recall, just discuss any progress towards initiatives in the strategic plan or goals that you have seen in tangible action throughout, whether our board meetings, your visits through the district. Just discuss some of those various goals you have seen being addressed in action. So we'll give you about 4 minutes and 21 seconds to do that. So just discussing with those around you. If you have had the opportunity to see any of our district goals or movement towards our strategic plan action items in action throughout our board meetings or your visits through the district. So Greg, it's the first question. Hearing some good conversation in my right ear.
We're only talking about what we did do, right?
What you've seen in action at this point in time.
I'm not supposed to say it out loud, I'm supposed to keep it.
You're supposed to talk to your people.
I know, but you're the one that's next to me, so I'm talking to them.
It's okay. You can talk to me.
Right, that's a biggie. And then for trying, third. Yeah. Well, it says, so I'm looking like this one, the human resources one. I was just kind of clicking through.
Wait, how did you get there?
Click on the top, the
One?
yeah, so this one, see, MTSS was one we did.
I need a refresher on all of them.
We'll get you there. And if you are struggling with the format, we have heard you loud and I have heard you loud and clear.
Still struggling.
And I have an update on that.
What, an update on the format?
Yes,
I don't like this.
Pray tell.
after we do our work.
Clear and targeted communication.
Yes, exactly, so we improved our communication.
Clear and targeted
Yep.
communication. Right in front of us.
Owl, or owl.
Oh, it's in my recent.
John's not looking.
We're talking about you, John.
He's out.
We're talking about you.
Yes. Oh, increased mental supports. This is our mental health.
Should
Thanks to Chris. Yeah. The new one.
Do you want to just pretend to the teacher that
You should have ideas for that.
So take about another 30 seconds to finish up on that. And after you finished your thought on that, where you have seen efforts within the district of addressing our goals, I'd then like you to transition to your discussion on where should the district focus its efforts next in addressing the strategic plan, or where you think we should focus on goals that were not met.
Yes.
More accessible. Easier to.
Something. You're taking notes.
I'm taking notes, yes. Speak to all of this.
I think it's time.
Oh, the shared decision making.
Yes,
Please
that
talk
would be
about that.
good.
Do we see simulations? Yes. I'm not in. What's it called? There's a link.
I know, I've bookmarked it like 50 times.
No, just click on the
This?
agenda. It's right in the presentation.
Oh, that's right, I can, this is downloaded that.
That's 2014.
I'm looking in the past. That's right, I didn't bookmark this year.
Oh, and we have our ex officio was the first year this year. And then increasing the program for next year.
So take another 45 seconds to finish up your thought, and I'll bring you back to our
I'm not
presentation.
gonna include that because we're talking about district goals, not board goals. I'm gonna flip that over though, because we're gonna have a discussion about board goals in a minute.
Right.
Great.
Take over.
Great. You can go back to the presentation. Okay, so we're going to give you a second to wrap up your discussion. That was just to refresh your memory on where the district had shared that they were going to dedicate the time of our efforts, and also to start you getting to think about next year where the district may have not been able to meet the stated goals that they shared. So on the next slide, I wanted to take some time to share, and the next slide. This is just a reminder that on this part of the webpage, this is where you can access our current strategic plan and the action steps and tracking documents towards where the district is meeting its building and district goals. And then on the next step, I wanted to provide an update on our goal progress by pillar of the strategic plan. So the administration has taken time at most administrative team meetings, which are held monthly, to update this goal document and really reflect on some of the good work that they're doing. So while that linked document, and we'll talk about that linked document in a second, details live updates from our administrative team, I want to provide a high-level update aligned to where we stand in each pillar of our strategic plan and efforts towards carrying out that strategic plan this past year. So first of all, when we talk about student engagement, we had efforts led to ensure coherent and aligned improvements of our MTSS process. An intangible outcome of this was we had all of our district administrators at the administrative retreat identify common procedures, common expectations for the data that should be brought when we're discussing student progress, and we had at least one cabinet level administrator at each building level administrator or building level MTSS team to make sure that questions were answered as we rolled out this new format, and also that we could provide feedback on how to make sure that we are aligned and have cohesion across the district. Additionally, still continuing on with student engagement, our building level AIS and tiered support protocols have been developed this year. The district is continuing to formalize our academic intervention support framework, really focusing on embedding tier 3 interventions for executive functioning within our academic intervention supports. Our math curriculum committee meets monthly to ensure that we are aligned vertically, meeting up the grade levels. Our inter-reading access and curriculum work continued at the elementary grades. New courses were approved after committee review, so some really good work on our professional learning committee, on our curriculum committee as well. There's continued professional learning alignment through our district professional development committee and a focus on the portrait of a graduate. Family and community engagement, including a very well-attended math night and communication efforts, celebrated a lot of this success. If you had the opportunity to attend the math night, it truly was a community building event. Continuing on with student engagement, we adopted a universal screener resulting in a new K through 12 phased implementation for how we try to identify where students may need supports earlier. And there's continued work on capital project and energy performance contract to ensure teaching and learning and community environments are of the highest caliber. Going to the next pillar of clear and targeted communication, our district hosted a regional veterans fair, ensuring that our veterans have an understanding of resources available to them. Our Pupil Personnel Services Office continues efforts to have a user-friendly and resource-rich website highlighting the process and procedural safeguards associated with the special education realm. We moved our timing of our weekly updates based on user access data to a date in the week that reflected more engagement when we do release those newsletters. We moved it from Friday to Monday. If you're looking at what date that was. We had increased transparency of our budget development process. We included more video updates, ensuring that content was available in easily accessible and digestible and understandable formats. We engaged with a strategic communication partner to make sure that our message was clear and targeted. We continue to increase our advocacy efforts for district needs with community partners at both the local, state, and federal levels. There was an update and redesign of the athletic website. New administrative colleagues held numerous stakeholder meetings to allow the community to get to know them and their vision for their area of oversight. And we supported transition to the new food service program through increased updates and engagement with stakeholders. Moving on to our pillar of real-world experiences, we have continued implementation of the high school plan pilot, ensuring that our measures of student performance and knowledge and understanding is accurate and authentic. We have new programs at the high school to include a teacher assistant certification pathway that will allow seniors to earn credentials along with new course offerings and multiple presentations of course options for families and students to see where those implementations are. And we're continuing to plan to improve and expand our internship program. Finally, on the last pillar, shared decision making, This was a year of celebration of our high school centennial. We held multiple events and established a collaborative planning process to make sure the community was involved. We see continued implementation of our site-based teams, ensuring better alignment across the building with an understanding of what those teams should be working on. We successfully negotiated contracts with the Hendrick Hudson Education Association and the District Administrative Association prior to the expiration in a highly collaborative manner, and we have worked with the Third Labor Union partner continues. We've held a Parent University series to help support the homeschool partnership. So that's just some high-level updates on these pillars of all the really good work that is going. Hope in your discussion at the table with your partners, with your colleagues, that you identified some of these. It's been a very long but engaged year, so we need to take some time to reflect on all the good work that's going on. We obviously couldn't do that in even a 5-hour-long meeting such as tonight. But Greg, if we go to the next slide, nobody caught that one? No?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Nika. So what are our next steps? Well, we already start looking towards next year because it's almost September. So we have our district administrative team retreat, which occurs on June 30th and July 1st, where we'll do a lot of planning for next year. One part of that retreat, our administrative team will take a look at the strategic plan again. We will identify areas that we want to focus on, and we will prepare to update the board in the fall. We want to spend, each year I identify an extra area of focus. For the past 2 years, it has been on our multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS process. This year I'm going to ask our administrators to have an extra focus on facility and finance action items. We will continue to provide updates in public board sessions during our 2026-2027 board meetings. And then we will update with this year's information in our annual status tracking spreadsheet. So to that end, I know that the presentation of the goals that is a working document that our administrators update causes a great deal of consternation, I think is the best word to say, for both viewers and also from people inputting the documents. So Dr. Scollins made an executive decision. When you become a doctor, you get to do that. And she has provided an alternative format that our administrative team has found to be more user-friendly than before. They said become a superintendent. Everybody will do what you say. So, looking towards our next iteration of the strategic plan, it's my hope that next year at this time, we as an administrative team, having had engaged conversations not only with the Board of Education, but also with our larger stakeholders, are well on the way to understanding what our strategic plan for the next couple of years will look like, whether that be a 3, a 5, a 7. BOCES actually does a 10-year plan. So all those are on the table, but early discussion has already been held. I met with my cabinet about a week ago to discuss how we want to go about addressing the planning process and what we want to consider in terms of large 30,000-foot view of what that strategic plan might look like. We will look to schedule opportunities for stakeholder engagement, and we will aggressively plan to align our strategic planning process with our budget development process for the next year. I think we are in a unique situation as a school district that whereas most strategic plans tend to be a plan of what we hope to happen in the future and have action steps to get there, I think we as a district really need to focus on the fact that our financial projections and outlook really will be driving a lot of what we are able to do. So we want to make sure we give consideration to that. As I sit here on June 17th, thinking about next year, so obviously there's time for that to change, I want to, in our budget development presentations, I want to include connections to strategic plan development so everybody has a clear understanding. Because I don't want there to be a disconnect where great ideas are teased out when we meet with our stakeholders and as we come together as a community, but then it's not matched up with our financial projections or financial plans. So that's the 30,000-foot view of what I'm thinking right now. And again, I will shepherd through the idea that finance and facility enhancements will be an area of focus of that strategic plan. Next slide, please, Greg. Any questions on the district update for our progress towards goals?
I was just going to say that you guys have done a tremendous amount of work, and it shows, and I feel like we are going in a great direction.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So you have my appreciation for that comment. The team has really worked tirelessly to make sure not only the goals are addressed, but they're done in a thoughtful and collaborative way that we are able to provide updates. and that's above and beyond their normal daily duties. So we appreciate having shared understandings of where the community wants us to go, and so the strategic plan is a key component of that. And thank you to the board's support for allowing us to do that.
It's not a question, it's a statement. Looking forward to the 2026-2027 year, I think the two items that you picked to focus on, facilities and our financial status, are the two most important ones. So I appreciate you listening to the community. As you know, there has been quite a few discussions on different areas of facilities, and the facilities committee has been working with looking at some improvements that we can make and how, and asking for support. And then obviously the finance aspect of our budget is, you know, always something that we need to make sure that we're really looking at with a critical eye moving forward.
Thank you. And again, I'll just echo what Tamika said, that this is truly a team effort, so I want to thank all of our faculty, staff, and the community partners who helped us achieve all of the great work that we did. And if we want to go to the next slide for some closing thoughts. I wanted to just say that I know I speak for our team saying that it is a pleasure to be able to serve. So we took some time tonight to reflect on some really good and significant progress outlined in our strategic, meeting what's outlined in our strategic plan. It's important to acknowledge that these documented efforts towards our goals represent only a portion of work happening across our district each day. Beyond these formal initiatives, our teams are engaged in countless activities that don't always appear in these strategic documents, but still are essential to our operations and building community trust. So research on the complexity of modern educational systems is compelling. Studies show that teachers and administrators make approximately 1,500 decisions per day. Roughly 3 decisions every minute, and during an 8-hour workday, that translates into 252 judgments per hour. And the Wallace Foundation research on effective school leadership emphasizes that successful districts must balance strategic priorities with immediate and often unpredictable needs. Their studies show that school leadership is second only to classroom instruction in its impact on student learning. In this past year alone, our efforts included extensive parent outreach and community involvement, and the complex work of passing a budget that reflects our values and meets our community needs required countless hours and follow-up with inquiries from families and stakeholders, hiring and supporting building staff to maintain excellence across our building, and addressing emergent situations as they arise, often without little notice. If you've been around me for a while, you often know that I have sayings that I tend to fall back on. It's because I truly believe in them. One of them is the pressure is a privilege. The weight we carry, the expectations, the decisions, the constant demands exist because we are entrusted with something very precious, the education, growth, and well-being of our community's children. And that pressure is not a burden to be endured, but a privilege to be honored. Yet despite this breadth of responsibility, the strategic work, the daily operations, the unexpected challenges, we approach it all with a shared care and concern for our students and community. Every educational program refined, every budget line reviewed, every parent phone call returned, every emergency address is done with the same underlying purpose, serving young people and families who entrust us with their education and growth. It is truly a pleasure to be of service. So thank you for allowing us to have this update. I'll turn over to you, President Sterling.
Thank you. We have, in similar fashion, the board goals update.
Do I have homework?
No.
We're nicer teachers.
We are. It's June. As we do everything, we know that every time that we are looking at something, it is with our mission in mind of having engaged, passionate learners. You can keep going. One more, Greg. Thank you. When I was putting this together, there was really two objectives that I had in mind. One is to review what we did. We can highlight and discuss any accomplishments, challenges, and outcomes that we achieved. And then as we look at how did that impact our student achievement, district operations, and strategic initiatives, so that we can also look at future goal setting, because as we are closing out this year, we do have to look at where do we want to go for next year. So our agenda is to review our goals for this year, celebrate our key accomplishments and outcomes, and then identifying the remaining work and establish priorities for the 26-27 year. So just a reminder, our 4 goals we had, one was on our facility improvements, one was on our community engagement and Hendrick Hudson Pride, one was on being fiscally responsible and having a fiscally responsible budget, and looking at a structured quarterly review process for student success and well-being. So when I was looking at these, we had these check boxes, and I started to do that, and then I thought I couldn't do this in isolation, so I wanted to look at each of the action items together as a group and see, I know where my thought is as to what we did accomplish, what might still need some work, but I wanted to hear from the team when we look at the first action item on the capital project and our facility improvements. What are some things that, like the glows and the grows, what were we really proud of from this year that we accomplished, and what is still left for us to do? So looking here, if
I'm impressed, by the way.
our glows and our grows.
Nice protocol.
You tell I'm an educator. So this would especially be for those who were on the facilities committee looking at some. I know that we had a huge plan of things that we wanted to do, so we can look at what we feel we accomplished, and this is open to everyone because we do our presentations. And what is still left, especially being now that the district will also be focusing on facilities. That was something we focused on this year, and now the district will be focusing on that next year. What are some things that we still have left to do that the district can also support in for next year?
Where are we on our 10-year facilities improvement?
Well, hold on, so I was gonna, as a member of the facilities committee.
And I'm gonna take notes while you're talking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we have definitely hammered away at what we want to do, but I would like to formalize an actual plan. One that incorporates the recent desire for a fields task force into an actual 10-year improvement plan that we present to the community. We try to report as often as possible on our facilities committee through our spreadsheet and also here at the board table. We discussed in facilities recently, which we haven't had a chance to speak with the group about, but it was in my notes, that anything that remains in the facilities budget, there are plenty of ideas for this summer. The only thing is, like, I think as a committee, I'd like to hear more about dollars and cents. I don't know the numbers per se, right? We just kind of talk about what projects remain.
Right, he had a list of projects.
And then we never got into any of the policies. Granted, we had plenty of policy work.
Well, that is one of the ones that we had just asked Ms. before, right? We were skipping over the 6,000s and we had asked for 7,000s and 8,000s, but we didn't get them yet.
Okay, so then that's not our fault.
It's not our fault.
No. But I would say that this goal, we definitely took some steps towards it, but I think for sure, the coming board in July, as we form new goals, this will likely have to stay and just transform a little bit.
And I was just only going to build a little bit on the 10-year facilities improvement plan, which we, started. We have some, a couple of lists that we asked for more detail on. And I think once there is, things need to be in context, more so in terms of budget and like feasibility before sharing a plan like that out widely. So I think we've asked Anthony for a lot of that information, and we're planning to share that out once we get it.
So I think especially being that we didn't get to those policies yet, and those are next up on our agenda items, that this definitely will be a goal that we did not successfully, and not to any fault of anyone, just that we didn't get to, it's something that we want a 10-year plan, and it's gonna take a while to get to there. So this, I agree, would be something that I would wanna bring back with maybe a few new action items for next year, especially after living with it.
It was a good
this
thing to
year.
have in place this year because it kept us focused, I think. And the things that we haven't accomplished, I feel like we focus a little bit more and we get the 7,000s.
Point of privilege.
Yes.
A note that I will take is perhaps working with the facilities committee to see what can be taken from that 10-year facilities plan and integrated into the strategic plan as well.
Everywhere it needs to be.
I was just also gonna say, I feel like, I know you guys were saying the 10-year plan wasn't accomplished, but the stuff that's gonna happen at the middle school over the summer is because of all the work that you guys have done on that committee. So I don't think you should look at it as like a goal not met. There's just so much, the facilities
We talked a
for
lot
our
about
school
it,
is
yeah.
just, there's just so much to do, right? And it's gonna take a very long time to get through it all. Just because of our finances and everything else that's going on. So I would say, you know, don't say you didn't get there. There's a lot that's gonna happen, and I think when kids get to that middle school in September, it's gonna be incredible to see. I can't wait.
I wanna be there.
We'll put a little disclaimer that it will
Possibly
possibly done
not
in
be
September. You might walk into still seeing
Yes,
some
some things.
some
No,
things
yes.
up and being worked on. That's a little
The stuff
disclaimer
that
we're
will be
putting.
done will, I think will
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Just gonna add that disclaimer.
No, you're right, you're right.
So, thank you. Number 2 was really about fostering the Hendrick Hudson pride. And personally, when I was looking through this one, I just want to say thank you to everyone who was on the Centennial team, task force team, because I feel this goal couldn't have been done without that team. And when I was personally looking through this, I wanted to check off every bucket list item that was on here, every action item. So I'll let those from that team know, add any comments, what they're really proud of that they did this year. Maybe there's still some lingering events that you wanna do.
You can go first. I'm gonna talk about the video.
Okay. Yeah, I think though, it was really great working with Lauren Scollins and Beth on the gala, and the whole community seemed to come together and really get excited about sending in memorabilia and coming to the events and seeing the video that Corey worked on as well, which was amazing. And I think it really got people excited. People came back from past classes to all the events, and I saw people walking through the memorabilia walk and watching the video and coming to the gala and the time capsule. It was just like a really fun way to bring the community together, I felt. So, and I know we're still going to be implementing some events in the fall with homecoming, and there's still, you know, part of the 100th year to come. We're not done, so maybe more video, right? Like you said, might come out in a longer version, and I don't know exactly what's planned for homecoming, but I know we've discussed certain things.
Yeah, we're discussing the homecoming, and what can be tied to that, because we can celebrate a little bit more next year. We have this happy birthday signs that the HHCF has that we're still selling to celebrate the centennial.
And more merch, right? It might be coming.
The they're talking about merchandise, so this planning is continuing into next year. But as far as the goal is concerned, I think we did a pretty good job here. You know, because we do so much work in our meetings. I think a couple of things that we had intended to do in our meetings we didn't quite get to, but I would say on a whole, we did a pretty good job in supporting the district with this. I mean, I was at, I think, all the events myself. So I think we were all of us got to something, I think. So yeah, I think we did pretty good.
I was just going to build on a little bit. I was involved with the video, and we that thing took on a life of its own, and it was kind of a magical thing to see it come together. And Kyle Cena, the I don't know how the advisor to the film club, was a fantastic leader for that project, and he really went above and beyond and reached out to everyone in the community. And of course, Beth is like tireless with connecting him with alumni and facilities that he could use. I think what I wanted to say was that we have a video that we showed on that day, but there's so much more material, and there are so many more people that actually want to be recorded, and it's a really beautiful way to capture, for future years, to capture people talking about the school district. And so I would hope that we would, and we talked about this, that we would do a revised edit for two things. One, for our website, and I don't know how long, and we can talk, John, about the best ways, the things that we should highlight in that, because we had a deadline to meet with the version that we showed, and now that if we have more time, we can add some nice things about the district and things like that, and then also to do maybe some screenings around. I know that a lot of the seniors were really interested in screening it in their senior centers. And you have an update on that?
When you're done.
I heard them all like, oh, we should do this. Can we get a copy? And I feel like we should somehow share a link with anyone that wants it. And I'm seeing a lot of nodding, so maybe there's been plans for that. So that's good. I'm hoping that the thing has legs, because it's a really beautiful reflection of our whole community coming together from, how old was from 1946,
Yeah,
right?
I think the oldest person to speak on the video is in his 90s, right?
And play his French horn.
Oh, yes.
I mean, anyway, yeah.
And I know there were so many people that wanted to do an interview, and
we
they
didn't
were
have
running
time.
out of time.
Yeah,
so there might, I don't know if you're still taking interviews, but maybe not. But it was just that much interest that
the plan
people
is
wanted
to
to
do that.
keep doing interviews, and the schedule was just filling up, so.
Awesome, thank you to everyone who was part of that. The third one we had was approving our fiscally responsible budget that aligned with our district priorities and supporting long-term financial stability. Again, looking at this one, I can just say one thing. What'd you say?
Check.
Oh, well, there was one thing we did not do
Yes.
on here, which was the 6,000. While we did have those, we were putting it on hold until we had a business official who, a permanent business official who was going to stay here with us to look over all of those and provide input, and as we're looking at those. So we didn't want to have to do those and then redo them as soon as we had someone else. So we kind of put that on pause. That's when we had asked for the other ones, and here we are today. But yeah, we can check off a lot of things there. I mean, the amount of workshops that you held, both with the board and without the board, was, there was sometimes where I lost count of how many there were, because I would be like, wait, no, we had it this day, and you kept adding more on, so thank you for that, which is not really from us, that was on you. You were just
team effort. It eventually becomes the board budget. So.
Which I know is difficult because people do want to hear from us and be present, and you were readily making yourself available for that. So thank you for that.
And don't forget our shared day of fun.
Yeah, our Live Online, I was gonna say, we even got visitors this year, which was great.
I'm writing that in as an accomplishment, check, line by line.
Check those off.
Yeah, no, obviously we still have a lot more work to do, and I think this will probably be another goal that will continue to carry over with new action items as well. Anybody have anything they want to add?
I wanted to just say that the finance team and the finance committee, everybody that was on there, we spent a lot of hours, but we also have to thank Jill for all of her hard work, because it was a lot that got poured into that, hours and hours of meetings, every single week trying to get through it. And Jill, we appreciate all the work that you put into that and the time you spent with us, so
Thank you for your support.
thank you.
Thank you.
Point of privilege.
Absolutely.
Just before we transition on, I know I said this when the board adopted their goals, but I want to commend the board on its focused and targeted goals. Oftentimes, never mind.
The last one we
I'll yield
had.
my time.
The last one we had was establishing a structured quarterly review process to monitor student success, both academically and with student wellness. And this one, I feel like when we look at some of the action items, we did have more presentations this year. Thank you to Dr. Scollins and to Mr. Moreno. Both of you together in tandem have really provided lots of information that the board had been asking for. We did have a few thought exchanges on food and our open campus here, or the closed campus, now the closed campus policy, looking at that. But I still feel like there's some work to be done when I'm looking at our action items. The wellness committee.
That's on the district's end that we will make sure that we focus on.
Yeah. And this one we did do a lot in our 5,000 series. I don't know if there's anyone that wanted to add anything else on. Okay, so Mike, now you can give us your, oh, did you want to say something?
Well, just, this is, I guess, allowing us on the board to be part of the curriculum committee too, which also is a way to find out what goes on in the district regarding all the different changes in curriculum or updates to classes, and to see how all the teachers and all the staff work together to come up with all these ideas. And this year there were a few new class proposals that came up, so it's interesting to see how that all comes together and, you know, ends up being an actual course that a student can take in school. You know, it's thought of by a teacher or two, and they come together and make, you know, one class out of two different things, which is pretty interesting. Even hearing the one proposal by the student this year was really cool. So they do a lot of work behind the scenes on that. So as a board member, being on that committee was pretty interesting and, you know, enlightening to see how that all gets worked on.
I just want to add, just to talk about the quarterly academic and student wellness data. I think we did a good job this year, and it's been better. I think we really need to focus on where we are improving to tell our story. We celebrate, we have recognitions, but I think we did a good job on this, but I think there's still work to do to tell the story of Hendrick Hudson and the students, because we actually had mixed into a lot of our data some really humongous wins in growth. And I don't know if, like, we presented it in this room, but I'm actually not sure that the messaging of that got out to our community. And I think that's like so critical, especially when we're in the financial times we're in. If we're in a situation where we're in tough financial times, the community needs to know what they are supporting. So if we can focus on the wins and then show how we're improving and what we're doing to improve, because like Lawrence, we're doing so much reviewing. There's so much work our administrative team is doing and our staff is doing to improve the experience. I think if we did a really good start this year, I think there's so much more we can do in the board meetings, like to support the district.
Yeah, go ahead. For it.
Can I also say that throughout the year, we have added things that weren't even our goals in the beginning that we did as a board and as a team that made wonderful impacts on the district that we can't really give ourselves credit for on this slideshow or in this presentation, but that we should definitely give ourselves the credit for putting so much time and effort into things that we weren't necessarily anticipating were going to come up this year, but that so many people worked so hard on advocacy and really extending the budget information out to the community, showing up for meet and greets. There were a lot of things that kind of came up after these goals were created that I also want to make sure we acknowledge.
Thank you. Turn it back over to
Sure.
you.
So one of my favorite quotes, Allison, as you may know, is by Dwight Eisenhower that said, "Plans are worthless, but planning is essential." Right. So we start the goal grounded in an understanding of where we hope to dedicate our limited resources, including time, talent, and treasure. Right. So the planning is important, and those other things that I spoke to in my update came up. You hit the nail right on the head. So I want to commend the board, and I know I did this when you formulated your goals. Many meaningful boards want to make sure that they have goals that are very detailed, very operational, because they want to see good improvements in the district for at the micro level, at the tangible level. I commend this board. The majority of your goals are grounded in board policies and aligned to board policies, and that's difficult, I know, as a board, because you all have from your perspectives where you want to see the change, and that shares with me that you trust the team that you have, and I appreciate that trust, and your goals reflect that trust. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, and thank you for your continued partnership and trust.
Thank you. Okay, so moving right along, I'm gonna actually turn it right back over to you for the superintendent's update.
Okay, I am flying blind as my computer died, but we can do this. Just two real quick updates. We're going to excuse the cabinet updates other than a few from Dr. Lauren Scollins, because she changed the presentation of how I want to present my goals. She still has to do an update, but because we had so much work on the goal items, I'm going to excuse the cabinet from their updates. But real quick, before I turn it over to Dr. Scollins for her punishment update, we have two things that I really want to update. Tomorrow, we are pleased to welcome at Furnace Woods delegation from Senator Harkin's office and Senator Harkin himself. He has some really good news to share with us, and he wants to do it around kids, so that's really special. So we're going to have hosting him. Thank you to Principal Cohen. I forgot to say thank you to Principal Kramer for hosting us here for the meeting. I'll make sure I follow up there tomorrow. But thank you to Principal Cohen for hosting us tomorrow, and we look forward to celebrating that event and the news that I believe will be good news for the community as well. In addition, related to our board update where we talked about centennial celebrations, we took the video on the road yesterday. Probably one of the best events I've been to in a while. I love visiting our seniors, both the Verplank seniors and the Buchanan seniors. They really do keep me in line, and they really do engage in making sure that I stay humble, and it's always great to connect with them. We showed the Centennial video to them at their request, and it was probably one of the best times that I had this entire week. Being able to see some of their friends, their neighbors, seeing the work our students did, and we really highlighted that. Dr. Scollins joined me, Mr. Van Decker, Beth Gruber joined me as well. Mr. Van Decker had some members of his team there to capture the moment, so it truly was, when we talked about one of the main things we wanted to see out of the Centennial was to have this community celebrate its sense of community with itself and celebrate that sense of community. It truly was a special moment, so I'm thankful to Mr. Van Decker for having people there to capture that, so thank you. If you do want to participate in an expanded video to capture as many voices as we have, feel free to email me. We'll have a more formal communication, but if you're watching this, I don't know how many people are watching. I'm going to guess 18? One? Okay. That's my son. We will make sure that we have a formal outreach there, but if you're watching it at home right now, just email myself or any members of our administrative team, and we'll make sure we capture your voice. So I will turn it over to Dr. Lauren Scollins, our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Professional Learning, for two brief updates. Two brief updates this year.
The Centennial video is on the website. I would also highlight that the best part of watching the video with the seniors yesterday was when the alma mater played in the video, the seniors in the audience sang.
Yay!
So it was like it was a very full-spirited event. As you know, we're closely monitoring and planning for next school year because, as Mr. Trombley says, it's already September, folks. So as we look at our current enrollment, I just want to bring note to our current kindergarten enrollment. It is only June 17th, and I anticipate we will see more enrollment in kindergarten as the summer progresses and we realize that our 5-year-olds need to come to school next year. We are currently sitting at an enrollment of 128 students. That is 61 enrolled at BV and 60 at Furnace Woods. This past year, we had a total enrollment of 129 and 4 sections here at BV and 3 sections at Furnace Woods. I'm making the recommendation that we plan ahead for increased enrollment and increase the section at Furnace Woods to do 4 sections here at BV and 4 sections at Furnace Woods. Right now, the section count is about 16 students per class at BV and 20 students at Furnace Woods. So if we have one more student enrolling at Furnace Woods, we are going to be, above that cap that we wish to be at. So we are looking to plan ahead to ensure that we are equitable across both of our K2 buildings, as well as ensure that we have the best candidate in place for our kindergarten students. We know that we, in planning ahead as well, also looking at our UPK enrollment for next year, which is already over 100. So we are seeing a little bit more of an increase. This year our UPK enrollment was 95, and we only hit 95 right around January. So with already being at 102 for UPK, I think that this is a recommendation that we should consider moving forward. Looking at retirements and how things are shaking out in the district, I think this is going to be something that we need to include.
Thank you, Dr. Scollins. To build upon Dr. Scollins' recommendation, two things of note related to finances with these recommendations. First, the board had the foresight to put in place contingency positions within the budget, so this would not be, by opening up this section at Furnace Woods, this would not be a budget add. We do share that we know it's an expensive component of the budget, but it does help us at times like these when unknown factors come up, so thank you to the board for that. And related to UPK, the first year we started UPK, we had a budget line item in the budget to cover, based upon live birth data from Westchester County within our region, within our catchment area, to cover any child who would be a rising fourth grader to participate in UPK. I'm going to, above and beyond the grant funding, that we did receive, I will most likely be making that recommendation as a budget line item in our budget development, that above and beyond any anticipated grant funds we receive for UPK, we do consider funding from our local budget any child above and beyond that number through our local budget.
At this point, we look for our, based on the governor's budget, we are looking at an unlimited amount of UPK enrollment, as well as an increase in the per pupil funding that we're getting, so that will help our partners as they hire high quality staff. So there are a lot of rules in place for the 59 students that we were given, and then the expansion grant for 116. And now moving forward with the anticipated budget from the governor, we will be able to offer as many seats as we need, and our partners will maybe be able to pay their staff a little bit more, so we may see less turnover in staff from our partners.
Yeah, that's been a concern of our partners for years, even dating prior to when we saw a number of other districts bringing on UPK, is that was one of the main contentions, is that the reimbursement rate that partners would receive was not a business model they could sustain.
It makes my life a little easier now that I don't have a crazy chart about who's in what program, so it's going to be much better.
Thank you, Dr. Scollins. So this time, I will tell my kids to go to bed, and that is the superintendent and cabinet update for this evening.
Okay, so we have our board comments, old business, and the first one is our June 2026 report on the community perspectives on possible open campus vote exchange.
So we are going to, again, I'll fly solo. I have that report if I need. Can I just see it? Thank you so much. So Greg, could you pull up the engagement summary, please? So just for the board's awareness, I did an executive summary report that is a resource for you on Diligent Community, our new board docs. But I did just want to take us through this engagement or thought exchange is a follow-up to an initial thought exchange we did that was focused solely on the student perspective. So we, as part of the request from the Board of Education, as it considers possibly changing this policy, we were tasked with a few things. Survey the individuals who would be impacted, and look at what other districts are doing from a policy standpoint and an operations standpoint. So what other districts were doing in terms of a policy and an operations standpoint was shared earlier in the year. This past spring, we talked about what our students felt about it. And then this will be a focus on basically the adult perspective. We surveyed community members, we surveyed parents, and we surveyed teachers as well. So we wanted to capture all three of those voices. So Greg, if you want to go to the next slide. So the exchange recorded 145 participants who completed that. We gathered demographic data from 135 respondents, revealing the largest participating group was parents and guardians of high schools in grade 9 through 12. Greg, you can go to the next slide too, please. And that comprised 33% of the total respondents. Staff and teachers accounted for 13% of responses, while community members made up 12%. The remaining participants included parents of younger students across various grade levels, with 16% from pre-kindergarten, 10% from grades 6 through 8, 10% from grades 3 through 5, and 7% from kindergarten through 2nd. Language demographics indicated that 99% of participants completed the survey in English, while 1% utilized the Spanish translation tools. And when asked directly if they support allowing high school students to have the option, Craig, if you want to go to the next slide, for off-campus lunch to leave school during free periods, 129 participants answered the poll showing strong support, with 67% of respondents voting yes and 33% voting no. So, Greg, if you go again to the next slide, this is a word cloud from the main themes that came from the free response section of the exchange. The initial part of the exchange asked a few questions. It asked that question, do you want your youngsters to participate in this open campus? It collected demographic data. And the reason why we broke down the demographic data is we received feedback on our survey that said maybe parents of elementary age students or younger students have different perspectives than students of parents of students in the higher grades or closer to when they actually would be living this out. So that was great feedback we received from the community. We were able to integrate it right away, and we wanted to break it down based upon that demographic data. But again, that word cloud is primarily from the key themes in the free response or open thought process. So a number of themes came from the survey itself. There was discussion on, or there were thoughts shared on fostering independence and responsibility, looking at this as having eligibility criteria and a phased implementation. There were thoughts shared about safety, security, and attendance, and then there was discussion on a broader community impact. When we talk about what we saw from, what we as an administrative team saw from the thoughts that were exchanged, two areas come up to me. Obviously, we see that the respondents had a 67% support of allowing students to have an open campus. And as we discussed when we talked about the students who had support for opening the campus, it wasn't necessarily the fact of, yes, they wanted it, but the administrative team is tasked with how do we make that happen. So when I look at these results, my initial first blush on them is, number one, with 33% of the participants opposing off-campus lunch options, I need to investigate further into the specific concerns that they shared. So collaborating with local law enforcement and municipal partners will be necessary to ensure student safety in the community, particularly concerning the high traffic intersections. And one thing I mentioned just as a refresher during the review of student thoughts, things such as if we are in a lockout situation or if there's an emergency at the high school and we have students off campus, where do they go if they can't return to the high school? So I just use that as an example of something that if this policy is changed to open up the campus, that is just one of the examples to be worked through, and there's a number of those items that the administrative team will be looking into. Another theme that developed after my review was the impact on academic performance, making sure that we have a grasp upon understanding whether off-campus lunch options may affect students' academic focus and performance, and these are not, thank you, Amelia, these are not areas that are obstacles, but these are considerations that we need to dive into if we are going to implement any change here. My recommended next steps are, if the board wants to continue this discussion based upon the data they have both in the report and in the engagement summary, is to have a discussion in the board policy committee and then have a full board discussion, because this is a policy the board does have oversight on. So I'll yield to any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints at this time.
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Has there been any data pulled? If we do the open campus, does the district lose income from what the students would have spent?
No, they would not lose that because we do participate in the National School Lunch Program, and it's not participation-based aid.
It's not based on them actually buying?
No, it's based now on student count. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe.
But does that change if you?
Well, it's participation as well, so
Oh,
the number of meals that are served.
The number of meals that are served, or any a la carte items that are based, but our eligibility for the school lunch program will not change because we have an open campus.
The aid, but
The eligibility won't change, but the participation may change based on the fact that they can go outside. If they were able to go outside and purchase, then they wouldn't be getting meals.
Right, so we would
That's
have
what
less
they're
money.
asking, I think.
We would make less money on it.
We wouldn't get as much aid if we can't claim as many eat
Oh, and we
meals.
would lose some aid.
That's the only difference.
The owl's going to sleep. Okay,
Oh.
thank you.
Just going on the record with that.
I guess one of my questions would be, is just, I know you talked about safety and security. I wonder what the financial impact is gonna be to our budget,
Increased insurance.
having to make sure that we're securing that building as well, and what other implementations of other things are gonna have to be done in order to ensure that students are coming back and they're being accounted for, just in case there's a lockdown or something happens in the school. Like, how are we gonna ensure that students are safe when they leave and come back?
Well,
And-
even when if they're not on campus, are we still, if it's during school hours, are they still?
Yeah, I think one of my questions also is just, what are the legal responsibilities of the district if we are allowing kids to leave the building and then come back? Like, what legal responsibility do we have for that? I think that would be one of my questions to the policy committee, to just make sure that legally we are not, what responsibility we're still gonna have for students that are leaving the building. And just the financial impact to the budget.
I have a question and I have a statement. So my first question is, and you might not have thought through this yet, but is it something that in the first year you would roll out to like only seniors? I don't remember if
We haven't codified it around that if the policy were to change, but much of the data that we received from the thought exchange itself suggested criteria-based eligibility starting with 1 or 2 grade levels to begin.
Right. Yeah, it sounds smart to maybe do like a test group before it rolls out. And then my other comment is just a statement. I'm fully in support of exploring the details of this policy change. I think that we as a district expect students to leave Hendrick Hudson as responsible citizens. And if we don't give them opportunity to learn and grow as they move through the ranks, we're doing them no service and no justice. So I'm eager to hear more about this. I know safety is important. I'm not discrediting any of that, but I just want to go on the record that I very much support helping these children become young adults. And this is a very important piece to their maturity.
I want to add, I just want to add to, I'm in support of exploring this further. I do think we have to start with a sample group. I would personally like to see us talk that through. But I just want to remind everyone, as far as seniors go, we kind of already have, we should be able to collect data pretty well on them coming and going, because our juniors and seniors leave during the day, over 100 of them, I believe, to go to BOCES. Some of them do drive themselves to BOCES with parent permission. We also have seniors that have late arrival and early dismissal. And a lot of them that have to come back to school. Mike, I know that I've seen kids leave school for early dismissal and then have to come back to school. So I think they're a group that feels a little bit more like safe and secure to try, right, to see how it goes, because we are giving them some of that flexibility. And then from there, you can collect data. So like in the next, I think we have to really, if we're gonna consider this, we have to move forward with not waiting too long to make, like we said, we'll write the policy, safety has to be a main priority, but I think that we have to start somewhere, find the limitations, and then has to be tracked and monitored very specifically after, like with regulations, however you're gonna track that data, to see if it's something that we wanna continue as a board, or if we want to add other students to. But I don't think the safety of this is very serious. I really think the high school in and of itself needs to see how it works with a smaller test group. Like, I'm not comfortable putting this up and saying it's for 9th and 12th graders and walking away from this, is what I'm saying. Like, if the policy committee is gonna review it, I think we have to seriously consider that part of it.
I have a question too. The new call pass system that we have, right, the electronic call pass system was something you said could be used, I thought at one point, right, to help track the kids coming in and out.
I'm going to ask either Benita or Lauren to come to the podium and respond to that. See, the front row, nobody would have that problem.
Yes, the call pass system when the students are coming in, they do sign in at the front desk, at the greeter's desk. and when they are leaving, they also do that. So right now, it's just a pilot that we're doing, it's like a soft pilot. Starting next year, it's gonna go into full implementation.
So that's something we currently have, right?
So we can always see where they are.
Potentially cost too much more or.
Thank you, Ms. Strong. And Lauren, if you have something to add? Dr. Scott?
To add to Erica's point, one of the courses that the curriculum committee did approve for next year is a co-taught English and Social Studies senior class, which would culminate in an internship experience during the fourth quarter. So that in and of itself is going to be a group of students who want to have that real world experience where they may be leaving the school early and then coming back for things like sports. So that there is going to be this natural piece to this that will get a little bit of a test case on how that operates and what that looks like, whether it's a morning internship or an afternoon internship based on how that is going to operate. So that's something that we're also looking at as we consider open campus, meaning that it's not just lunch. It may mean these other curricular opportunities for students throughout the school day, similar to how BOCES operates. They just won't be, at BOCES or at our campus. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Thank you, Dr. Scollins. And just for a point of clarification, because Dr. Scollins is right, there's a difference between an open campus and leaving for lunch. So the survey was primarily targeted when we talked to students about leaving for lunch opportunities as its main data center.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
So now we have our board comments, new business, and we were asked to consider the parent's appeal of the superintendent's level suspension hearing for student ID number 54470, and the board has made a decision. So our resolution, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby denies the parent's appeal of the superintendent's level suspension hearing for student ID number 54470, made by their letter, dated May 28, 2026 in its entirety, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby directs the district clerk to issue a letter on behalf of the board informing the parents of this decision. I'd like to ask for a motion to act on this resolution.
Motion?
Second?
All in favor? Thank you. Committee reports, anybody have any updates?
The HHEPTA is hosting a spring festival. It's this Saturday, June 20th at Frank G. Lindsay from 2 to 5 p.m. You can buy tickets in advance right now, or you can show up. I think they're $10 with a maximum of $40 per family. You can also get tickets at the door for $15. There's going to be games, prizes, bouncy houses, food, and it's welcome. All Hen Hut families are welcome.
Insurance is expensive.
Who else is something?
Well, I'm struggling to remember the facilities notes that I took because I didn't bring them with me. I think next week I can give you a better update on that when I'm not half asleep. But I do want to mention that the facilities committee also discussed creating some sort of task force to respond to the community desire to improve our athletic fields and facilities. So that's very exciting, and I hope that we'll learn more about that soon. But I have a whole bunch. Amelia or Corey, do you want to? Is there anything that was like really? I mean, Polara came tonight.
We talked a lot about that. I was trying to pull up the committee.
Okay, don't worry about it.
Do you want
We
me to
also
speak-
have a
Do
meeting.
you want me to speak while I give you time to find it?
No, we talked again about, a lot of it was, as we addressed before, was the summer, like all the stuff that was on the list, and
Yes.
then looking at the money that we had left over from the budget.
I could be more
that could
formal about it next week.
That can be used for there, but we spent a lot of time talking about that. We spent some time talking about the capital project, the Fields Task Force, and Polara.
Oh, okay, Corey's got it. Okay, let's see. Is that not a touch screen?
No, it's not a touch screen.
Scroll down. Okay, so okay, we'll skip that. Polara came. Capital project. Work begins literally June 26th, which is the last day of school. So as soon as like our teachers and students leave, there will be people coming to start the work. And most of it will be done in the summer. Some of it, as we mentioned earlier, will run over. We discussed making sure we educate the community on that so that nobody is shocked that if there's still work being done, it's all for good cause.
Jill was talking about the meet and greet for, did you mention that, or did you want us to mention that? The meet.
Transportation.
Yeah, yeah, we talked about that in the beginning of facilities.
And I think we announced that at the last, sorry. Hard to stand up. Yeah, we announced that at the last board meeting. I believe we appointed her. Michelle Mugner will be joining us. June 26th is her start date. She was here this week. We had her come to the district office the district transportation office to meet all of whoever was available to meet with her in the morning. So we've already had like a little bit of a meet and greet with her. She'll be back again to do that to anybody else that she has, and she's met the office staff. She spent basically 3/4 of the day here going around and speaking with everyone and getting acquainted. So that was nice. And again, she'll be joining us. She'll be here all summer, so she'll be on board at the beginning of the school year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah, and the last piece was that there's also work that Mr. Merlini plans to tend to that is not part of the capital project, that's just part of his normal improvements, right, and money from his facilities budget.
Still like corporating in leftover places.
Yeah, and like changing out tile and, all of those things that just, I'm sure painting and that stuff, so. Okay, that was it.
And the genesis of that list, which is broken down by building and refined in an operational manner, the genesis of that list, if you're looking for connections between our structures and systems in place, was his budget development presentation when he started thinking about some of the items he wanted to address.
Yep.
Any other committee reports? Okay.
This time, I'd like to thank our cabinet for their dedicated work and have a good evening.
Good evening. Because now it's time for policy. And we have tonight, we have 9 policies that we will be presenting. So the first one is the first reading of a revision of policy 5300, the Code of Conduct. Whereas so I pulled it up. I don't know how to read it.
Go down to the first page. Start.
The first page?
Bringing down, how is it, the page?
Page 5. Page 5, 6, okay. The Hendrick Hudson School.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second. All in favor?
So this is just the revised code of conduct that we will be presenting for approval. This will go up at our reorg meeting, and then every single family in the school district, once it's approved, will receive this to acknowledge before the start of the next school year. Mike, do you want to just talk about the changes? They were pretty minor. I don't know what pages the red lines are on.
So,
if you could reference me.
yes, I did not use red lines, but let me pull that up.
Oh, here we go.
So we utilize in a way to gather as much. I'm offline. I'm sorry. In a way to gather as much information as possible and keep it in order without red lines, because I'm confused by those. And people click happy. We utilize Google Docs for comment functions, and those comments stay in there while we review them with each group. The stakeholder groups that I mentioned before. Let me make sure I pull up.
There was something on
There was
visitors.
only one. We made the changes to
The visitors.
Visitors to the schools. We changed the wording there.
Hold on for 1 second. Let me just.
It's right here. It's the parent members, just to revise the language.
I thought we were on the code of conduct.
We are.
I lied to.
Okay.
Never mind. It's the wrong one. I don't even have that.
Sorry, that came off more blunt than I wanted to do.
No, that's okay. You're good.
We're all trying to get through internet, personal devices.
Yes. Hold on for 1 second, please.
It just wasn't. We didn't have a lot of changes.
Yes,
Saying it
there was not. Sorry. Let me pull up my comment section.
I think we just updated the language around visitors.
It has internet-enabled devices.
Yeah, that, but the wording on that stayed the same from last year, right?
No, there was some
We didn't
redlining.
update that.
No, there was some.
So there
redlining.
was some cleanup, such as adding different members' names, making sure their names are in alphabetical order. We wanted to make sure that we had our code of conduct. A major change was, and this was brought up in one of our stakeholder meetings. There was concern that our code of conduct did not reflect specific procedural safeguards related to students with disability, related to items such as use of timeout rooms. That was some really good feedback because it is not reflected in the code of conduct because that is another policy or other policies within our policy book. So we did make an update to the code of conduct to make sure that our code of conduct references those other policies. That was an example of how really good stakeholder feedback can improve something and help understanding. I'm not seeing.
The other one was that we updated the language around students selling items.
Yes.
And distributing items at school to other students, faculty, staff. That it is completely prohibited.
Yes, there was incidents this year that showed us we probably needed to be clearer to our students on expectations about what they should be doing while at school. We use that as a learning opportunity for us to help clarify the solicitation of students at school under any circumstances when it's not related to the educational mission or approved reasons is prohibited. Thank you.
And then the other part, the other piece, we actually in the last year's code of conduct, we had mentioned that you could, with permission, bring personal mobile devices. And now we have that language changed on page 38.
Yes, we're not saying the mobile device, internet-enabled device.
Yeah, they're saying it, we just took out the first 3 lines there, when deemed permissible. So I guess in that case, we are not allowing, in any particular case, in any situation, mobile devices.
Yes.
And then the other one is we are adding all the references in here that are tied to any new policies that we added throughout the year are now referred to in here that if they relate back to one another. And just to explain that the code of conduct isn't just something that we just come up with and revise randomly, right? There's a process that goes into this. And while it does come to policy, this one has a few other steps and layers that go into this. And then we met with, for example, shared decision-making team, a planning team, went through this. Mike asked for feedback from multiple groups. And then we came together as a policy team just to make sure that the language was good and that we were covered this year. So those are the main adjustments. So just to explain what's next, the code of conduct, because it is a policy and it does have to be reviewed every year, parents, community members, even students have an opportunity now to contact the Board of Education and make any suggestions. This is still a living document until it is finalized. So I just wanted to note that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that everyone should read through this online and come back with us with any questions or comments so that we can make any revisions. Okay.
And then once approved, already looking towards September, this will be one of the mandated sign-offs that we ask parents and students to sign off before they get their schedules in for the
Might as
campus.
well read it now. So up next, we have the first reading of revision of policy 2220, board officers. At its annual organization meeting, the Board of Education.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
So this is a new policy that the policy committee wanted to bring forward for discussion to give the board the option to appoint a first vice president and a second vice president. And so we're we're not adding, this will be a very clear, the recommendation here is that this is for succession planning and to have more participation. But this just gives us the opportunity and option to do so. We did check with legal counsel to make sure that this was okay.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
If that was a question, yes.
Yes, I was stating it, but yes, thank you for.
I just had a quick question. Just in looking at this, there's no other school board district that has 2 vice presidents in Westchester. So my question is, one, what would the second person, like, is it, I know it just says like in the event that somebody is not available, but what role would that second person serve, since we're discussing changing it?
So the policy itself that would go under, if we wanted to do a regulation, would go under there. We haven't delegated or decided upon any specific role other than if the president is not there, the first vice president isn't there, then the second vice president would assume the duties. Otherwise, we haven't outlined any other items at this time.
I was just gonna add that Hendrick Hudson in the last 5-6 years has had tremendous board turnover. Every year the board has been different, whether it be 2 new members or 3 new members. And I don't know that that's really the norm. I haven't gone out and studied it, but I think in a lot of other districts you have long-standing board members and even presidents that have sat in the role for a very long time. Being a past president, I can tell you that you can't have enough hands on deck because most people are working parents and what have you. So I think having the option to have 3 people on leadership rather than 2 is nothing but an added benefit. I don't see the downside to it. I think that leadership would have to clearly discuss their roles. But the number one thing that stands out to me is that when I became president, I had 1 year experience on the board. Like, I had so much to learn. And I think that this gives more people an opportunity to learn about the function of the board and how to lead the board, rather than just hopping in and hopping off and hopping in and hopping off. Again, future boards don't have to do it, but I think it's a great idea to have the option.
Anyone else have any comments?
This one comes back next week.
Well, I think the idea for this one was to have this in place for the reorg meeting, so I think we wanted to waive the second reading and vote on it tonight.
Or do we want to bring it back to the 23rd?
Or do we, oh yeah, we've got the 23rd, so we could do it then too.
Are we not going to get community input? Like, give anybody a chance if
I
they
agree.
want to email us?
I think we should.
I think we're changing a whole, there's a whole policy right now that has never been here. I guess I get that if everybody else feels comfortable with it, but with every policy reading, we've allowed people to give input, especially since it's something that has not been done in all of Westchester, that we're bringing it up for discussion. I think it's only fair that we give the community an opportunity to weigh in on a brand new
We
policy.
can bring it back
Okay,
on the
we can
23rd.
bring it back on the 23rd.
I think we bring it back on the 23rd. We have this meeting next week. It's a great opportunity.
I mean, a district could only be so lucky to have so many people that want to be on leadership.
And so many
No,
people.
I get it, but
Right? I mean,
also-
how amazing.
I think it also needs
We're
to
the
just
best.
like have some outlines and some guidelines as
Well,
to
that-
what each person would be doing.
I think
No,
that's not part of the
that's
policy.
not part of the policy, so that would be, like I said, we could write a regulation on it, or that could vary
It would not. We're
from
gonna be-
term to term as to what those
And the
members
protocol.
want.
So the board protocols can be updated as well?
Yeah.
And we can do that. That typically, the board protocols are typically, like, that's a working document. It's on our website. The board does review that every year in our retreat. So it's something that we can talk about then too. If we decide to go this direction, but
Yeah, it just gives the option. Then we have our first reading of revision to policy 8635, information and data privacy security, breach and notification. The Board of Education acknowledges the heightened.
Second?
All in favor?
this was
A minor change,
Very
so
minor.
instead of, because as we know, a lot of times you can go to sleep and wake up to a new version on your iPhone or whatever phone you have. This stated version 1.1, but if there were updates that changed that number, we would have to redo the policy. So the only change is just making it to be the most current version of it.
Instead of version 1.1.
Yeah, because it can change, like I said, whenever.
Point of privilege, not to derail the policy discussion, but on a related note, I missed an opportunity to update and provide clarification on board action that's related to this policy. It's related to technology and innovation. So earlier this evening, the board, through its consent agenda, approved a establishment of a new title within the district, and I just wanted to provide clarification that that new title of Assistant Superintendent for Technology and Innovation is not a budget add or looking to add another person. It is simply a title change for a role that I anticipate recommending in the next few board meetings. But it is not an add to the budget, and it is not an add to our staffing. So, well, and it's reflective of aspects of our district such as this, where technology has become more pervasive. Making the right decisions around the right amount of technology to use and integrate into the technology program, the amount of phishing, the amount of aspects of our district that technology touches is reflective of that state of the field. So sorry to interrupt the policy momentum, but just wanted to make sure I made that clarification.
Okay, that one will come back next week. We have the first reading of policy 5200, co-curricular and extracurricular programs. The Board of Education of the Hendrick Hudson.
With the reading?
Second. All in favor? This again is a new policy, and I think it's going to lead, if I am correct, to the retirement of other policies later on. So we're gonna now in a few. So it's just combining policies that we had. So it is a new policy. I think it was combining some of the other ones that we
We're
had.
combining a few, and this is
That you will
also,
see.
this is based on the NISBA recommendation to align the policy book as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Okay, so that one will come back. We also have our first reading of policy 5210, student organizations. The Board of Education recognizes.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second.
All in favor? Again, this is going to be one that will lead to a future retirement, I think it was.
We anticipate.
We anticipate, yes, if this one gets approved. It's just an oversight of how our clubs are run here. Okay.
What are we not, I guess let me ask this question, and you might not have the answer right now, but what are we not doing? What are we currently not doing that we have to do to make sure that we're in compliance with this policy? You may not have an answer for me, and that's okay. I just want to make, when we approve policy, we want to make
Sure.
sure that we have everything we need to make sure that we're approving policy that we can either put in place easily or that we're already on compliance with.
I wouldn't categorize it as it's something we're not doing. I would say it's more what's not codified that gives support.
We need more procedures, processes,
Yes.
regulations around this.
So remember, board policy exists to give direction on how we administer our educational program, our extracurricular program. So this helps to codify, because there are considerations. I mean, if you look at some of the references that include case law, you're looking at things such as freedom of speech, freedom to assemble. So this clearly grounds in policy some of the frameworks that allow the Board of Education to offer extracurricular activities in student organizations and why certain things could exist and not exist.
Yeah, I'm looking at it saying, do we have, does each club have bylaws? Do we have a list of members? Where is that kept? And all of those things are going through my.
Correct. So this is an interesting exploration of how systems work together, right? So there's board policy. There's particularly because we do have advisors for some of these clubs. Our teachers union owns a lot of that work, so we have to have an interplay with their collectively bargained agreement. So this policy will help provide that interplay.
Yep.
So we don't have to get into details here on that now, but we'd be happy to share them.
Okay, yep. First reading to retire policy 5690, defibrillator policy. The Hendrick Hudson School District will purchase.
Second.
All in favor? This was,
Just being combined.
well, yeah, because we just approved
Yeah.
last meeting or one of our recent meetings on this. And this was also just updated in the district safety plan as well.
So we should probably just waive the, we should probably waive this, we should just retire it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Anybody want to waive the second reading?
Motion to waive the second reading of policy 5690.
Second?
All in favor?
Motion to approve policy.
Retire.
I'm sorry, retire policy 5690.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, policy 5690 is retired. Okay, that brings us to our first reading to retire policy 5191, students with HIV-related illness. The Board of Education.
Motion to waive the reading of policy 5191.
Second.
All in favor?
This is the same thing, this one being replaced, updated, enrolled into a different policy recommendation. This is, we recommended this, this was recommended to us by NISBA and reviewed by our attorneys. Motion to waive the second reading for retirement of policy 5191.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to retire policy 5191.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, policy 5191 is retired. First reading to retire policy 5620, pregnant and parenting students. The Board of Education
Motion to waive
recognizes.
the reading.
Second.
All in favor? And this is again another one that we no longer
Okay,
need
this
to-
one was, which one did we
have.
have? This was considered, this one was considered not essential permit per NISBA.
So, motion to waive the second reading of policy 5620.
Second?
All in favor?
Motion to retire policy 5620.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and first reading to retire policy 5640, employment of students. The board in cooperation with the New York
Motion to
State.
waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
This was also just one that was recommended by NISBA to retire. And it's non-essential. And the policy committee agreed.
Motion to waive the second reading of policy 5640.
Second.
All in favor?
Motion to retire policy 5640.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to
Second.
All in favor? Have a wonderful evening.